Hi. Well, I know it's been a while and I'm looking at myself in here because we're on video again. But welcome back to Dark and Enlightened. Obviously, it's been a while. I think the last time you saw me was probably October and then I disappeared. I did not die, as evidenced by me here. I always say every year that I'm going to take November, December off simply because A, the holidays, I fucking hate the holidays. B, our brother died, and so that also kind of ruins the fucking holidays. And C, it's usually like the end of like my busy work season, and so it's like I just want to decompress. So this was the one thing I actually managed to just I didn't give everyone a heads up. I apologize for that. But I wish on like podcasts you could just like post a little note. I wonder if you can do that. Like,
Hmm.
hey, I'm not dead, but I don't feel like recording anything. So,
Yeah, you'd
don't think.
think at this point,
Right, because on YouTube now you can like put a status, which is kind of weird.
like an
Like if
out of office.
yeah, like, hey, I'm not really dead. But that was the one thing I was willing to take away because obviously, like I said, I do this for free and for fun because I like to have conversations. But now it is January and I am starting to record episodes again, and so I'm trying to like record them in chunks so I don't run into a situation again where I don't have anything. But I do have someone special who is on the podcast previously, and I don't have we done one? We haven't done one this year with a video, have we?
No.
No. So now people will, number one complaint we would get is you and your sister sound exactly the same. So if you're like, oh, I still can't tell, this is where I would say watch the video then, and then you'll have perfect
Hmm.
understanding. But this is my sister Allison.
Hello.
Hello, hi.
Hello.
I'm sick, in case you cannot tell. Jordan, I also got Jordan sick, and so that is why I'm in this background. This is in our guest room. Allison's at home. Allison and I have been hanging out so much more lately, which I fucking love.
Hmm.
And one of the big differences or things is that I don't really talk about this a lot, but I'm going to start talking about this because I always felt so fucking awkward. But again, 2025 I think was a very much like a freeze year of like really reevaluating like what the fuck what's happening, you know? I think and
Hmm.
I don't know if you felt that way, but 2025 just felt very like I don't know what to fucking do, like frozen as in like there's so much shit happening right now and I can't there's no time to grieve or comprehend or anything. So I did what I do best, and I freeze or fawn or retreat when I don't know what's going on. And so one of the big things that I really wanted to do or was take my fucking business seriously. I always say that if people want to take you seriously, you have to be serious about your fucking self. And so me just like half-ass calling, oh, this is my LLC that I file my tax. No, like I have a business. It's a coaching and consulting business, and Allison is a part
Hmm.
of my business now, which I'm super excited
Woohoo.
about. And Allison, first off, I'm a Pisces, she's a Virgo. If you know anything about that, you know that is a dynamic duo, first of all. Second of all, Allison's background, she has a lot of, I'll let her explain it, but she has a lot of experience with like presentations and people leadership. And she was in corporate forever. So she has a lot of knowledge and insight into a world that I'm no longer in. Obviously, she's not in, but I say obviously, but I guess we haven't talked. No, because I'm
Mm.
realizing I think we talked and we did talk. Me and my sister did talk, then the audio was shitty, and then I realized that never aired.
Mm.
So, why don't we do that first? Because everyone's like, wait, why is she
Okay.
working for your business? So, Allison, tell us what's been going on since our brother died, starting in 2018. Just kidding.
Oh, I was like, damn, I was not prepared for that. Uh, so starting just with the job in general. So in 2024, I decided that I wanted to leave my corporate job. Didn't have any backups planned. Kind of just wanted to take a break for a little bit. The intent, has been to get another job, but The job market has been abysmal. It still
Mm-hmm.
is. And I took maybe about a month off, and so I my last day was end of August 2024. Took about a month or so off and immediately jumped into applying for jobs. I've easily applied for over 2,000 jobs at this point. I've
Fuck.
done countless interviews, made it to several final rounds. And the feedback I keep getting is that we don't really have any constructive criticism. You were great, but you don't have company experience. So
The
we're going with
biggest
someone internal.
And that's like the biggest fucking annoyance because I remember in corporate, if anyone's in corporate, they have to open up the position externally. It's not like fair. But in reality, they already have an internal person identified. It's a lot cheaper to give an internal person a raise. We know that's not a fucking, like, let's be honest here. Because you'd hire some
Hmm.
fucking geek off the street for 20% more. I saw it when I worked in corporate. I'm like, you have my job and you make 20% more than I do. That's so fucking cool. So with this, especially, another big thing that I don't think a lot of people have really factored in is since the pandemic, how much people opened up remote work. Like there were some companies that never like would post for remote jobs. And so now it's no longer like you're competing with people in just Arizona. You're competing with people all over the fucking country.
And thanks to LinkedIn, I don't know when this came about, but you can see how many people apply for a job now. So a lot of like the tips and tricks that people will give on LinkedIn is like if you see over 100 people have applied, which is pretty consistent, usually happens by like the end of the day for a big job if they had just posted it. If you see more than 100 people apply, you might as well not apply. Do I still apply? Yes, because you never know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then along with that, I've been noticing a lot of like trickery type posts. So like
Mm.
if you want to filter for like remote or hybrid positions, great, you'll see those. But I've noticed a lot of companies are posting like fully on-site positions, even though they're open to remote or hybrid. I think to sort of limit who's applying for them. Like it'll just say on site, and then
Oh,
in the description will say, hybrid 3 times a week or something.
got it.
So
So so it's almost like they're trying to pre-filter people out by making it seem like it's only in person, and in reality you do have that
mhm.
flexibility.
Yeah, which I mean, I guess I kind of understand. It's kind of shady,
Yeah.
along with like the ghost job postings that people have been hearing of that sort of just like harvest your information and aren't really job postings. Or they're just filling like a company, if it is a job posting, it's filling a quota or to collect information for later. It's
Time
a
out.
fucking nightmare.
How can you tell if it's a ghost job posting? Like, do they go to the entire length of creating a fucking website, a fucking everything to go with it, or is it one of those like top secret or like confidential, you have to inquire type weirdo things? You know what I mean?
So I've seen it a couple ways. A lot of the time, like with actual reputable companies, it'll be like a real job posting, and then you might get something later that's like, oh, we actually decided to close this, or you'll never hear anything back. And then there are postings that are posted fraudulently, which you do see all the time on LinkedIn, where they're pretending to be a company. And then when you look into it more, they're not an actual company, or it's some vague job posting to where, you put in your information and then suddenly you start getting like weird texts and emails of like, when can you start? And it's like, I haven't even fucking interviewed yet.
That is
It's a
that's
nightmare. I feel
so
like,
manipulative
yeah, the job market's really predatory right now, which is really shitty.
because what they're doing is they know people need a job. And so if you get that random text, like there are people out there who are desperate enough to think like, "Oh fuck, this is about." And again, if they're like in your mode where they're applying multiple at a time, some people may not be able to keep track of all that shit. And so like why wouldn't you think like, "Oh, okay, finally I'm finally getting a bite." But in reality, they're just data harvesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's so
As
cool.
soon as I started applying for jobs,
Uh-huh.
I started getting spam texts and phone calls multiple times a day.
And
As soon as I started applying for jobs.
is it all job related shit, or is some of it like
No,
products, random other God.
loans, just random shit.
Wow. So,
Yeah, it's super cool.
what I really want to emphasize is that the AI piece, obviously, not obviously, I hate AI. Do I think it serves a purpose? Yes. Do I think it could be used for good? Yeah, like take all the dumb, boring things that humans hate and automate those tasks and use AI. But using AI to create art, using AI to do like the things that humans true, like that's what like makes us happy, and giving it to the robots is fucking insane to me. But obviously, I've seen those TikTok videos and I've sent you those TikTok videos of those people who go on like an interview and they're talking to an AI agent. Have you ever had experience that yet? But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Luckily, I've not experienced that yet. I've only had humans in my interviews. I have experienced just the shitty side of AI screening, where like I've seen a job posting that I really want. I reach out to the hiring manager because everyone says to reach out to the hiring manager. You know, they like your message, they reply. You go to apply for the job, you get rejected in like 2 hours. And like I've gone to people at the like in HR that have been like, "Oh, like you'd be a great fit for this," and I'd be like, "Yeah, well, I just got rejected, even though you said I'd be a great fit for this." And I'm pretty sure it was AI, but like, can you give me more details? And they're just like, "Oh, we go through a really thorough
No,
process
the
in
fuck you
two
don't.
hours." In
Wow.
2 hours, oh
And I
god,
and I
but yeah.
remember like 2021, even 2022, there was God, I wish I could remember his name, but what he was doing is his account was taking people's resume, but then like formatting it to have like AI acceptance so it wouldn't get rejected by a scanner. So he would just show the process of taking someone's resume, the way he would reword it, and then that person would then take it, and then it would be like a comparison of like I use this resume versus this resume, which I think is helpful. Every time he did it to whatever AI version, like a person actually got a real like interview and all that. But that was 2022, and things have just advanced so quickly. And obviously, I think we are not all very aware. I'd say at least half the population is very aware now of how much further advanced like technology is that we never knew about, how much further advanced things are. So what we're seeing is like probably what they saw 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And so we're just experiencing it in like a fucking fire hydrant mode. And like as you're applying for
Mhm.
shit, obviously it gets frustrating because if you make it to all of these final rounds, like some of those fucking interviews are what, like two, three, four interviews in a row?
Yeah, I think the most I've done is 6, and that was in a
That's
span of like 4 days. No, I think it was actually in like 3 days because 3 of them were back to back, but because I wanted them to be. Like they're like we
right.
can do the separate days and I was like, "No, do them back to back. Like if we can
No.
get it out of the way, let's do it." Yeah. 6 I think was my most.
That is such a waste of someone's time. Like if you know that you're going to hire someone internally, and I get that in the end, I'm sure there's three that they pick between and whatever, but it's like, what do you think that fucking does to the person? Because now you shift all your energy to these interviews. Granted, thankfully you only have just like a short window where you could pivot, but some people are like another week, another week, another week, and so it's like it's what a waste of everyone's fucking time.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really exhausting.
So, which leads me to this idea where, again, I have been out of corporate since 2021 and I've been in the nonprofit space. I have a great contract with Mobilize Recovery that's been like my steady income this whole time. And so, to be quite honest, I have really made that as like my focus, simply for the fact that it's guaranteed secure income. And because in the last
Mm-hmm.
few years, my concern was security. Like, I need to feel secure as I'm going through therapy, realizing like security and safety are my biggest fucking things that I need to like be peak optimal person. So and plus I love what I do. I love the people that I work with. They're like literally family, and I love the friends that I've made. But in the same sense, there are so many ideas that I have that aren't related to recovery, that aren't necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
aligned in that way, but things that, I've experienced through either therapy or just as a leader and just leading in these different spaces and these different things. Because I think the number one thing right now that a lot of people are really craving, which I hate that this is becoming a buzzword, but authenticity, which I fucking hate, because for the Kane family, that's all we have been this entire fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, except for me, until Mark died, then all fucking bets were off. And I think you and I probably masked the most. I don't think Mark, did he ever really mask?
Mm, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not
He,
sure.
and well, even thinking about it, because like even in school, like I feel like in school we were like totally like those people who could help the teacher or help organize groups or whatever. And I remember after Mark died and we found his like composition books from English where he'd have to like write an assignment every day. And there are just assignments where obviously you have to like, it's a 1 page answer. But this motherfucker would write 4 words on a line and spread it all the way out. Like you could tell he's just trying to get credit. And then like midway through he'd be like, I know you're not going to read this, but I keep writing so you can just give me a grade.
Yep.
And he was never criticized for it. Yeah, I that's too ballsy for me. I would have never fucking done that.
Yeah. No, especially in like a structured environment like school or work. Like
Mm-hmm.
I started heavily unmasking once I became a leader and started to see, some of the shit that annoyed me the most about like what we hide in leadership.
Mm-hmm.
But that definitely took a while.
Yeah. And I feel like, again, this whole idea of like, oh, people want authenticity. I think in reality, people just want the truth. They're tired of like deciphering shit, which I think it honestly aligns with our generation, millennials in general,
Mm-hmm.
because now we're finally in a phase where technically we should have had power this whole time. Let's be honest here. We
Yeah.
should have we should have had power in our 30s, but clearly that didn't happen because the grip the older generation has. But I feel like now our generation in general has kind of been like questioning everything. We've always questioned things. And even though they want to make fun of us and call us the participation trophy generation, who created them? You did, boomers. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do you think we made our own trophies to give to ourselves? No, that's something y'all would do, which is what you did. So there's all these instances where we have, through what we were told life was supposed to look like, by now we should all have kids. We should all own homes. We should all do these things. And we are the fucking opposite of all of that. And so I feel like we are so aware of how fake fucking things are, how things are for fucking show. We understand that someone says one thing and does another, believe what they do, don't believe what they say. And so we're all just kind of fucking fed up with this. And so a big piece of what I initially planned to do with my business this past year was to really focus on empowering people to feel more confident speaking up for themselves or highlighting themselves, simply for the fact that we're going to move into a world where if you don't speak up for yourself, like you will get run over. And that's kind of like the shitty thing about this. And like you can speak up for yourself and be fake as fuck, and that's fine. But I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people feel very powerless because they don't have control. And in reality, I think 2025 was a just like 2020. We have no control over anything
Yep.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what, when I had originally kind of talked to Allison about, like I really want to focus more on my business, and I was like, look, I don't have money to pay you. I have blocks, which this is a joke we always fucking say. If what is it's from Broad City, the blocks joke.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as someone who runs their own business and who hasn't focused on their own business, I'm not making like tons of extra money. So my big thing was like, look, I need to take me fucking seriously. I'm going to revamp my website. I want to bring Allison on. And I said, until I get to a point where like I can, get us to where we can get consistent gigs. Because now I feel like the way it used to look is that you find a secure job. There is no pension. So decent health insurance, hopefully a 401k, and then you just work till you die. And that's not my vibe anymore, or it honestly hasn't been. And so
Mm-hmm.
this idea of what we're doing, I feel like when you were in business school, because Alice and I both went to Eller Business School, Eller School of Management at the University of Arizona. I'm gonna brag about that.
Woo!
Woo! You know what I realized too is that not only did we both go there, I went there when the entrepreneurship program, it was the first year of it. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember thinking, this is such a ridiculous program. No one can own their own business. Like, they made it seem it was so impossible to start your own business. And so that was the first year. So you went to business school, I don't know how long after me, probably about 10-ish years, 10 to 12 years after me.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the entrepreneurship program was a lot larger or like pushed, or what was your assessment?
Yeah. It was a lot larger.
Hmm.
And there were required like classes for it. So I had an entrepreneurship class and it really, I mean, it it was like Shark Tank. Like your final presentation was like a Shark Tank presentation.
No way.
With your group. Yeah, and it was with several different judges. Like it was a whole like case competition type of thing.
Wait, oh no, wait, we did the
And
same thing. Wait, did you have to create something or it was an existing product and you had to sell it?
so we had several different projects, but our main one was we had to like solve a solution. We had to solve a problem on campus and propose a new business for a solution.
Mm.
So for us, it was like, I think the issue was like student exhaustion, which is hilarious. And we proposed like a nap pod company, like
Ooh.
nap tents and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to like flush out all the financials, come up with branding and everything like that. It was really fun. But yeah, we had to do that. And there was much more of a focus on entrepreneurship. That was more so not my gig, mainly just because, again, it was like owning a business. That sounds like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I majored in marketing instead. But yeah, it was definitely a popular major.
Right. And it seems like now, especially with like TikTok, there were so many people that they're able to like get so much more exposure for their small business and all that just by like
Mm-hmm.
fucking sharing on there, which why I'm still on the platform. I it's becoming regimey, and that was like another big thing for me too, is like this was my fun creative space, and now it's gonna turn into like state run shit, and it's like,
Hang on, sorry.
oh no, you're fine. But now it's like I I didn't ever talk about like, my work, or try to sell myself on TikTok, just because I was like, this is my fun creative space. But
Mm-hmm.
in the words of South Park, I feel like I have to get my nut now, because shit is gonna start like, there are people who said like that they are in the creator rewards, and I'm in creator rewards, but they were like making money, like I make shekels. And since
Mm-hmm.
the regime shift of Oracle, their money that they're bringing is a fraction of what it was. and
Damn.
that has nothing to do with views. They're still getting the views on certain videos, but it's not consistent. And on top of it, it's like drastically dropped. So it's almost as if people who were very big in creator rewards and making like thousands and thousands of dollars a month. Someone was saying like they showed like I made 10 grand one month, which I'm like, holy fucking shit, insane. And they're like, this is last month, and it was like $700. So that is a huge shift for people. And I think that's another big thing too, is that while you can like blow up on TikTok, which is amazing, it's so then volatile in that sense if the algorithm has helped you bring in business just from you making content, like if you didn't have a separate business to offer. So say I'm just here to,
Mm-hmm.
sing and dance and tell you funny jokes and all that shit. If that
Mm-hmm.
was like my business and I don't have anything to fall back on, then what? So like I understand like these content creators are like, what the fuck? So I'm kind of glad that this was just kind of on the fun like side piece for me. But now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, why don't I use it as a tool to market? So which
Mm-hmm.
is why I wanted to bring Allison on, because it's after a certain point like of applying for jobs, like do you just get very, I'm not going to say dissociated, but just so like numb to the whole like you're not going to get excited anymore. Like, okay, two interview, I'm not getting excited. Like, has it just totally detached you from the process?
Yeah. I mean, with everything that you've said about like stable income and everything like that, like I'm still applying for jobs because,
Hmm.
obviously I would prefer not to live off of mom and dad's money for too long.
Hmm.
But I was still applying for jobs, and it's funny because I did like a longer stint of it yesterday because I got an oil change, so I was like waiting in the lobby or whatever,
Hmm.
and I maybe applied for like 15 jobs,
Right.
and each one it's just very it's very like, I don't know the best way to describe it, like
Reflex.
robotic for me now.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
just like, okay, like, to be honest, I heavily skim the job descriptions. I see the title, I like just keep scrolling, look at the pay, see if it lines up, keep scrolling, apply. I've automated everything as much as I can to where like I can autofill everything now and do an application in like 5 minutes.
Really?
So I go through all of that. I have all my shit pulled up on my desktop as I'm doing it in case I need to copy paste anything. And I can't tell you like which jobs I applied for. Like that's how quickly I'm just like,
In mass.
and there's no hope. You know what I mean? Because I already
Yep.
got a rejection today, less than 24 hours later. And that was actually a job I would have wanted, which is unfortunate, but it's like I can't do anything about it.
Right.
Uh, yeah.
And and I think that's the thing too, is that we were also like kind of grown up to, not grown up, raised to believe that like, all right, the only way we'll be able to make our living will be someone else who established a company who has money to do that. And it's like, I feel like now my mentality is so very, like, I was never a, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I couldn't even see myself in a year. But that's, I'm learning now that's a PTSD thing where you can't picture the future because you don't know if it's going to show up. So I've never been in like this future mindset. But for me, like, I'm actually now comfortable with the idea of like gigs, and this holds me down till whenever, which sounds very unstable, but it doesn't.
See, that's a very interesting point because I've been applying for like corporations and everything like that because obviously there's stability there, but I have been branching out more to applying for like short-term contracts
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
before benefits were a concern, but luckily Ryan, my boyfriend's insurance, his employer recognizes domestic partnerships, not at
Yes.
like the state or city level, but just for benefits. You just have to like prove
Amazing.
it with like filling out a form, showing your bills, shit like that. And so I'm on his insurance now, so I don't have to worry about, finding a job with benefits.
So
And for
awesome.
the most part, like contracts pay a lot of fucking money.
Yes, they
It's
do.
pretty crazy how much they pay. So I almost just want to, especially for my ADHD brain, like I feel like it'd be fun to just stack up like 6-month contracts and just
Exactly.
keep
And
refreshing myself.
that's exactly how, which again is the antithesis of what we were taught. And so even like going into it, because when I quit corporate, just like you, I didn't have anything lined up. I mean, thankfully, I was working for Mobilize at the most minimal 10 hours a month bullshit thing. So I had
Mm-hmm.
some fraction of income, but again, it had to make me comfortable with the idea that a lot of the stuff that we do is grant funded or donation, either or. So, with everything that happened in 2025 with the government
Mm-hmm.
and how so many grants were taken away or canceled or whatever, that was a big reason why I went into freeze mode, is because I saw all my friends around me fucking just losing their jobs left and right. And I had to be like, wait, what is my backup plan? Because I do work for a nonprofit and that's great. And thankfully, my boss like fundraises nonstop. So, like, his whole big thing is trying to make sure that he secures funding so we get paid for the following year. And then it's beyond
Mm-hmm.
that is the goal. So I'm grateful to have someone like that who prioritizes that. However,
Mm-hmm.
with the instability of grant funding, corporations have money, and it's like this idea of like, all right, maybe doing something short term is better, like I said, for my ADHD, because you were in your role for a very long time, but for me, I was probably in my role for an average of 2 to 3 years before I went to another company or I moved to another position. But I would just get so fucking bored with it, and I'm like, this is dumb. I don't want to do this anymore. And then I would
Mm-hmm.
literally just look for the next job that maybe paid 5 grand more a year. Because again, that whole idea of like, I shouldn't ask for too much. And so, like, I'm inching up the literally inching, millimetering up the corporate ladder because I'm being too nice. And I'm like, oh, that's asking for too much. But in reality, these motherfuckers would come in with contracts. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you're getting paid how much to do what? And that's how we work, is like Fast and Furious. Like, that's how my life is. And I don't know if you're like that. Do you feel like you work better under pressure? You would prefer not to, but it's not like you're gonna fail under pressure.
Yeah, I unfortunately work in like productive bursts, which I think we have it on the agenda to talk about later, but
Hmm.
is another feature of my bipolar 2.
Yes.
So,
Hmm.
yes.
Hmm. Um.
But yeah, I do best like I can fucking hammer whatever I need to out in a day if I need to.
Yeah.
I did that whole presentation for an interview
Oh.
in less than 24 hours that I was completely surprised with because no one sent me materials. I did a company branded presentation in less than a day, presented it, got great feedback. So like I'm good with that stuff, but then
Hmm.
I will burn out eventually.
Yes.
So I almost feel like, not rigorous, but a challenging contract for a short period of time to just like get people's shit together and then peace out
Right.
is ideal.
Yeah, and it's like even with mobilized work, like yeah, we work throughout the year, but a lot of it is planning, but then like September, October is our busy time, and that is nonstop. And while it fucking sucks, all my travel is isolated to just that. Like, I would rather do that than constantly every month be going, so, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, I feel like for my brain, like you said, I can tend to get burnt out. Like, I get these bouts of productivity. But what I'm trying to do now is temper that. So, like, go, okay, well, that's enough. So I like don't burn myself out because I'll get really fucking ambitious and I'm like, I need to capitalize before this disappears. And putting myself constantly in that frame of mind fucked with me more. So I'm just like, it's okay. We don't have to do this today. It's fine. And
Mhm.
constantly like lowering my mental speed is very hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It yeah, that And like I said, I'm still applying for corporations and stuff, but I'm kind of terrified to go back because I'm like, now that I know what it's like to not work and enjoy life and
Yeah.
not care about shareholder value or
Mm-hmm.
like a quote unquote marketing emergency, I'm
Right.
just like, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
how am I going to be a good employee
Well, and I
if
think
I
that's
don't care?
the deal is that like going back to a traditional corporate environment. So like I was gonna say Sears. Why was that the place that's closed now?
Going back to
Sears
Sears and
Sears.
Sears Roebuck Company.
It's gonna be really hard because they shut down 10 book. I don't. When did they shut down? 10 years ago? 20 years
Fuck
ago?
if I know.
But when that shit started to happen, I was like, and this is not me being like nostalgic. I was like, if they're going out of business, shouldn't that be concerning to people? Like the fact that they've been like staples for this long, like anyway, that's how I always felt. And then when it started to be like Toys R Us, when they took Joann's from us, I was like, y'all are fucking. And anyone who's, this is obviously not a topic for now, but anyone who knows anything about these scoop ups that they do is these venture capitalists buy this shit up. They tank the shit so they can file for bankruptcy, take their money, run away, whatever. And then Joann's is now Michael's ex Joann's. And I'm like, why did we have to do this? And now
Oh, I didn't know that.
there's four Joanne aisles and Michael's now of like fabric shit. Okay, it's not four. It's like literally one corner of Michael's now is like fabric. Nowhere near Joanne's, obviously. But it's
I didn't
like,
even know there was like a quote unquote collab
yeah,
between the
there
two.
there is. I went to Michael's sometime around Christmas because I always like to look at the ornaments when they're like fucking 60% off.
Mm.
And there
Mm-hmm.
is a whole Michael X Joann's. And I'm like, this is not the same. And this is what they do
Might
is
as well
they
just be a cemetery.
right. It's literally a graveyard. And it's like you motherfuckers think that giving us the mini version of what we used to love is going to like suffice and it's not. But you recognize the nostalgia. You recognize that we long for that. So you give us a sample of it to still make money off of it, which I fucking hate.
Com- Completely unrelated side note. This is gonna
Hmm.
derail us.
I don't give a shit.
Don't you miss the fish tank section of Walmart?
Yes.
Like the
And
aquarium section?
that's so funny you say that because when you sent me that voice note about Godzilla in the terrarium, which nobody knows what we're talking about, Godzilla was a lizard that we had. Godzilla in a
Anyway,
terrarium. I thought your next follow up question was going to be like, number two, did we have a fish tank and did you guys have to suck up the filter and drain it every weekend?
yup. Every week. Looking back on it now, I
Insane.
unfortunately got downgraded to being the siphoner of the fish tank,
Yeah, you had to
but
be.
our mom made us clean it every week. That's not
I
healthy for fish.
No, and obviously we're children, we don't know what we're doing. But the way that this filter, to filter out the water, just so people know, if you've never had a fish tank, and I'm sure things have advanced since 1995, but at the time it was literally like
They
a
have
rubber.
automatic ones now.
How nice! It was a rubber hose, and there was a little like piece that you put into the fish tank and you would have to suck on it to suction it to get the water out, and so that would help filter the water out so you would put new water in that sort of situation. But if you don't remove that by the time the water hit, well, I can taste it in my
You get
mouth.
a mouthful of fish. And
Ugh.
not only that, uh, for fish people, for aquarium people, like we
Mm-hmm.
did a 100% water change every single weekend. We
Yeah.
emptied the tank. We put the fish in one of those like white buckets, like
Yep.
those industrial
Yep.
buckets.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow they were all like hardy fish, so I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Just various types of goldfish, but like that was not good for the fish. I feel like mom just wanted to keep us busy by making us clean a fish tank.
I think so. And in reality, like that, who wanted the fish to begin with? Like, why did we even get
I
one?
don't know. I remember we
Anyway,
had frogs for a little bit, little tiny ones.
wait, we had them or we found them and brought them into our home?
We had them because I saw them at Walmart and I was like, yo, we need these frogs. And they were tiny frogs and they would like swim through the water, obviously, because they're frogs. But this is a core memory. I
Uh-huh.
remember taking all the frogs out of the fish tank
Uh-huh.
and then laying them on my body and just laying in the middle of the kitchen as all these frogs hopped on me. And I'm pretty sure they just died from stress.
That's pretty much that scene in E.T. That's what it reminds me of when they let when they let in the science lab and all the frogs are jumping
Yep.
everywhere, and then that dude trips and falls and there's frogs hopping on him. That's exactly what that reminds me
Maybe
of.
that's what inspired
I
me. Who
think that's on
knows?
like because that's a very specific dream to live out. That's I don't know if you could have imagined that on, but you could have
Yeah.
imagined that on your own.
A kid just looking at a tank of frogs and being like, I could lay those all on my body right now.
I bet they could hop all over me right now. I think they could do it. Um, Wait, how old were you? Was I living at home still?
You were, but I did it in a very short period of time where no one was around. And then mom or dad walked in and they were very upset to see frogs all over the kitchen.
Whatever, whatever. Um, Now, but I'm trying to just remember like when we had them. Like it sounds familiar, but I can't picture them.
It was
And
for a very short period of
they
time.
coexisted with the fish.
Mm?
Oh yes, I do remember them. But they were like
They were
tiny.
almost like, yeah, they were almost like dime size or nickel
Yes, like
size.
they were like tadpoles, but not. So,
Mm.
that's why. Because I'm thinking bigger frogs. Yeah, no, I know what you're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about.
no. They were teeny tiny
Mm-hmm.
frogs.
That's weird.
It
Isn't
is
it weird
weird.
how like these I don't even know how we transitioned over to this
Sears Roebuck
oh
and me
Sears.
working there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so nostalgia. Oh, companies. Lame. Uh so either way, the idea of like short-term gigs seems to be the route now, which kind of some people might think it's the opposite of safety and security. In my head though, like I don't know. Like it doesn't that aspect doesn't make me feel unsafe or unsecure because there's so many contract jobs that are out there that will pay big bucks that could last me because I've literally and I'm sure you did the same, but leaving corporate and then also no longer getting corporate income, I had to downsize, we had to downsize the way that we lived and spent money and how we did certain things, blah, blah, blah. Like we used to, travel often and all that other shit, but like we had to downsize. So now even like what I used to get in corporate, technically I don't need like to truly pay my bills or survive, which kind of sucks that I'm just like in this mode of like I just need enough to pay bills, feed me, keep
Yeah,
me
paycheck to
entertained.
paycheck. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Does that make you feel more uncomfortable because I feel like for you, like for me, I obviously I've been doing this for a few years now, so I'm a little more used to it. But this idea of shifting from potentially working for someone bigger company, reputable, doing all that to like now you're just like Hunger Games and you are fighting other small business owners and not fighting. I feel like we all fucking get it. But do you feel like it's a hard shift for you?
It definitely was. I've had a lot of financial issues and have had a lot of help, luckily. Uh, but I think in the long term, it's for the better because now I know what it's like to really have to fucking be conscious of what you're spending.
Yeah.
And honestly, I still have issues with it. Like,
Yeah.
when I have any discretionary, I'm like, hell
Fuck
yeah.
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I go wild. And then I'm like, fuck. Like, I'm back at square one until next month again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's really hard, but it is teaching me like the importance of keeping an eye on everything. I feel like I let a lot of things go on autopilot,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and it's really easy to do that. And uh, now I'm very conscious of everything. So I feel
Yeah.
like with shifting to like contract roles and like getting like short term bursts of money, I'm not too afraid of it because, you know, I feel like I can balance it out well now, or at
Mm-hmm.
least better than before. Whereas before, I probably would have fucking spent it all on dumb shit.
Yeah.
Um, but I really had to cut back on my impulsive shopping,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, that's a whole
Uh,
other thing.
do you find that you impulsively shop for certain categories of things, or is it depending on what your hyper focus is at the time?
Both.
Yeah.
Makeup is a safe bet every time. I, it's to the point where like I can't even let myself look at shit anymore.
I don't look
Like
at makeup. Mm-mm.
makeup, clothes, jewelry, like all your typical things like that. I cannot look at like the marketing emails anymore. I just
Mm-hmm.
can't do it. This is dumb, but CPAP supplies, CPAP accessories.
I'm gonna cough quite
I
loud. Oh, I'm trying to.
I'd have a phase where I'd be like, I need to stock up on months worth of CPAP supplies, and I would pay like four hundred
Oh my.
dollars on CPAP gear.
Oh my
But I
god.
mean, that's shit you use. So like, I didn't
Exactly.
feel bad about that. But crafting stuff, like you said, like
Mm-hmm.
especially having all this free time on my hands, and obviously having access to your crafting shit too,
Yeah.
I'm just like going nuts of like, all right, today I guess I'm gonna learn this. And then I buy everything and then I
Mm-hmm.
learn it. And I used to think it was like a waste to like hyperfixate, buy a bunch of shit, and then not really come back to it. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it is cyclical. Like you always end up coming back to it at some point, and it's
Mm-hmm.
still nice to have all of those things because
Mm-hmm.
now I like pick back stuff that I was using a year ago, I guess.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, I'm glad I have this, especially because my impulsive spending also came in the form of buying gifts for people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's been really hard. Like in my head, I would be like, oh, $500 for a birthday gift. Like that's nothing. I will drop that gladly. Um, and now it's like, here's this handmade product, which is nice. I love like people seem to genuinely like getting handmade
Yeah.
things. You spend a lot of time on them,
Right.
but it's definitely like weird to get used to just like being at home because I cannot be trusted if I'm like in a Home
Right.
Goods or Marshalls.
Which again, home goods and Marshalls are things that I would love to just meander around like when I had corporate and I would just be like, let me just look for some silly shit. Now I gotta go like once every 3 months, once every whatever, because I don't need any of the silly shit at all.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, my big thing is like, I would, especially during the pandemic, that was a big time of like, let me hyper focus on all the things. And so, like, if
Mm-hmm.
my perfume collection exists because of the pandemic, it became a game to me.
And it's big.
It
If
became
you
a game.
haven't seen it, it's a big
It's
collection.
so stupid. And I know it's so stupid, and someone will say it's so wasteful, but that was the only thing that was making me feel anything at the time, so everyone can eat my dick. But when I was younger in college and go clubbing, I would have perfume all the time. Now, mind you, I had my staples, Viva La Juicy, which I still fucking have. I will
It's a
say it is
good one.
one of the goats of perfume. I used to have the DKNY green apple one. I had like
Dude, I've been meaning to repurchase that one.
it's been so long since I've smelt it, and I remember they did a red delicious flavor, and I can't remember the smell of that, but I really want to smell that version. And then I always was just a fucking Aqua de Gia or Aqua de Gio. Any of those cologne or anything by, why can't I fucking think of his name right now? Aqua de
Armani.
Armani. Anything Armani. This is what makes me a bougie bitch. Armani perfumes I absolutely love. Armani fucking foundation, love. And these are my
Dude,
bouginess.
their
Really?
liquid eyeshadow is so good. I'll have to send you a
It doesn't
link.
crease?
It's,
Or do you
well,
only, well, do you know how
because
sometimes
it's
like,
more, sorry, what were you gonna say?
no, I was just gonna say, because you know how sometimes if you put on liquid, it can crease and has that like wet crease that's like ugly. You know what I mean? Not like
Oh,
natural creasing over time. That's fine. But like, you know how sometimes you could put on as soon as you like blink your eye, it's like crease and gross.
yeah. I don't use like any matte or not shimmery liquid eyeshadows, so I only
Okay.
use shimmery,
Uh
and
huh.
then I specifically put it in my crease so that that
Mm,
doesn't happen.
got it. Got it.
So I'll like put it like a little above, and then I'll like blink for a little bit, and then it just looks like it's going a little past my crease.
Okay. Okay. Um, Armani. What the see, this is the problem is we start about our hyper focuses and all these things that we fucking purchase
Mm-hmm.
and money. So here we are, back to money. Oh, everything comes back to money. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's just this different mentality because before I felt like it was like we have to save, we have to invest, we have to whatever. And I can't help but think like sounds so dark. I don't think it's dark. I think it's
It's a
realistic.
fucking waste.
What am I saving for? Like what are we doing?
Exactly. I saw a TikTok. I don't know if I sent it to you. You maybe even saw it and reposted it, but it was
Mhm.
just this dude, and he was like, I know no one wants to hear this, but like all of the investment knowledge you've been taught growing up, even in the last 10 years, that was for a future that is not really possible anymore, at least with the way things are going.
And
Uh,
that's the number one thing about us is that we were all given a manual for a future that was never going to exist. Did we know that? No. Did boomers know that? They probably did, but not, maybe they didn't. I will give them some benefit of the doubt that maybe people didn't realize like how different it would be. I'll give some benefit of the doubt. But there was finally a video where someone said something nice about millennials and how, like, to other generations, we may seem very unstable because we have gigs and side gigs and we're jumping around doing things, but we have just been adaptable. And the reason we look so unstable, because I'm 41 with no kids and, you know, whatever, and I only have dogs and whatever, is because the conditions we've had to, like, we hit whatever goal and it was a dead end. And it was like, okay, I guess I got to crawl back out and find another solution
mm-hmm.
because I got married, so we should buy a home, but it is impossible to buy a home right now. So it's like we're such an adaptable generation, which I love because we're also really fucking smart. So we that's why we can adapt because we're so fucking smart. However, this whole idea for saving for the future, what future? And that's not even being like nihilistic. It's just being like aware of what is controlled. And I just don't think there is a near future of the same freedoms that we have experienced. Do I think eventually there could be? I fucking hope so. But I think this idea of like, well, what are you going to do when you retire? What do you mean when I retire? When am I going to retire? When will I have the money to do that?
Yeah, that, which is grim to begin with. And then also, like, I feel like there was this loyalty when it came to working that was respected because
Yeah,
you stayed with the same company for X amount of years, you worked your way up. And now people are finding the value in job hopping because you can get substantially more money going to different
exactly.
companies.
Mm-hmm.
like the whole hiring external thing, when it does work out, it works out nicely for the person that got hired. Like my old
Mm-hmm.
manager was offering jobs to people on his team, paying them more than he was paid as the manager of the team.
Did that like fucking gut him to like be offering?
Enough to tell me about it.
Yeah, I
He was
would.
like, it's pretty fucking rough.
And but that
Um
shows just the subtle levels of passive aggressive disrespect that occurs in corporate America. Like here's a number, a salary figure that you are nowhere near, but could you give this number to offer to someone else? Are you nuts? And it's like this idea of loyalty when we have seen companies lay off people in massive profitable years, why should we be fucking loyal? Now we're playing your game. You don't give us a 2 week warning when you lay people off. You know what I mean? So I think now people, and I say people, our generation has masked so fucking hard. We have been so polite and so fucking accommodating and like, yeah, okay, well, work hard, play hard, thinking like we'll climb this ladder, and it was a ladder to fucking nowhere. It led to nothing. And so now we're like, well, why the fuck am I being loyal when y'all just dump people left and right? But now they want to use it against us and go, oh, you can't find loyal people anymore. Because you guys don't act loyal. Why should I do, like,
exactly. Yeah. I like in my last year of working, I was very much like, oh, it's me and my team against the company. Like it's,
yes.
and I know that sounds bad, whatever, but it really does come down to what can I do to protect my job, my team's job? Like otherwise, they don't give a
Yep.
fuck. They truly don't. Even if you have the nicest
Right.
senior level manager in the world, you're
Mm-hmm.
still just a number to them.
They fucking told Allison, and I say they as in whoever in her upper management, that she's, what was the term, too invested in your employees' lives, or too
I
interested
was
to.
too personally involved with that makes it sound like I'm dating them. I was too personally involved with my employees because I worked very hard to try and get a work from home exception approved for one of my employees who had a spouse with chronic health conditions and very much needed that. And she was not in adherence with being in the office. HR literally told me if she hadn't started coming back regularly, like she would have been fired, just point blank fired, like not even a chance to correct it. But anyway, so we pursued that. Basically, HR was like, well, her husband would pretty much need to be dying, which was
Wow.
sick to hear. Yeah, they
Yes.
actually said that. A senior leader in HR, they're like, honestly, it's like it would need to be like a hospice, like end of life situation. And this, it wasn't that, but it was still a chronic illness
It's
that,
debilitating.
yeah, that benefited her to be home with her husband.
Right.
And not only that, one of the best employees on the team, like not to like rank anyone, but like someone that was on the team for years on years on years, that like go-to veteran,
Mm-hmm.
that person you always want training people, teaching them good habits. It was one of those people, and worked really hard to get the approval, did not get it. And shocker, I was upset about it. I cried about it. She
Of
cried about
course.
it. And oh, also HR made me tell her. They didn't do it themselves. They were
What
like,
pussies? Oh
oh,
my God.
it's denied and you have to tell her before tomorrow. I was like, sick. Okay. So all that was said and done. And then I was pulled into, it was like a standard skip level meeting, but
Mm-hmm.
basically the feedback I was given was that because of that situation, I was too emotionally invested in my employees and I needed to compartmentalize my feelings better because it's clear I was upset.
That is wild shit. And the fact that corporate now is leaning toward this idea of like having genuine leaders and authentic leaders. Who the fuck do you think you were? Who do you think you are you nutbags? And it's like, and I'm not saying your company is now leaning towards that. They will. Eventually, everyone's gonna fucking, get into the cool trend of cool bosses. But just the simple fact that you having compassion and empathy in corporate world was considered a negative. In case
Yeah.
anyone wonders why we fucking hate corporate.
Or, lo- so negative in that situation. But then suddenly, when we had employee surveys go out, and I got perfect scores from all my employees about the leadership section, and got rave reviews, and got the best scores out of anyone in our division of over 500 people,
Ooh,
to where it's like, oh my gosh, Allison's such a great leader, blah, blah, blah. Of course, I get all the shout outs then.
yep.
Of course, it's like, oh my God, what an empathetic leader. Yeah.
Because it
That's why I'm
makes
still going to lunch with people I lead now, why I still get Christmas cards and birthday cards from them. Like, that's what matters. Like,
right. And
ugh.
that's the thing too, is that like they will appreciate it then because it makes them look good to have you as their report, and look at
Yeah.
her, so it says something good about me. Fucking slimy ass motherfuckers. And that's literally all it is. It's all about how do you look to other people. Prime example, just because we're talking about ridiculous things that have been said. Uh, After our brother died, I got 3 days of bereavement. In reality, I had already taken Thanksgiving off because I was supposed to go to Hawaii, for a cool getaway. And now, upon further review,
And
glad
instead,
that,
we planned our brother's
and it was
funeral.
like almost equivalent. I have to throw in the detail about Hawaii because, mind you, once my brother died and we were planning his funeral and, not sleeping and fucking losing our minds, I totally forgot about. I did actually have to get a copy of my brother's death certificate to send to the airline so they would reimburse me, refund me, because I had to prove my brother died for them to refund me. So, when I went back to work, again, they only give you 3 standard days. I just happened to have the time off anyway for the holiday. My boss came up to me and was like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "It's fucking terrible." It's like, "Oh yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, a lot of emails." I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, have you gone through them yet?" And I'm like, "No, just got back in here because, my brother died. So I'm here." And he's like, "Okay, well, I'll come back and check on you." This motherfucker comes back later and is like, "Hey, did you have a chance to go through your emails?" And I'm like, "Mm-hmm." He's like, "Well, just whenever you have a chance, there are a few people that are waiting on a few things from you. So if you could go ahead and reply to those." And I was like, "Okay." And then obviously during walking in the hallways, I'm not fucking happy. I'm not happy to be there. Then I got pulled aside in his office for a separate conversation about how upper management is noticing that I'm walking through the hallways and I don't look very happy. And I'm not as approachable as I typically would be. And that people are noticing. And I was like, "Yeah, well, my brother's still fucking dead." Like, it was 3 weeks since he passed. And I was like, "Yeah, well, I kind of don't want to be here and I feel like a bag of shit." And yeah, that's why I'm not smiling. And so for optics, it would be great if
It's
while I'm in the
always the
hallway,
optics.
if I'm in the hallway, if I could just go ahead and smile. Oh, I was told to smile. So, yeah, so that instantly was like, I'm fucking done with corporate. Like the way they treated, and mind you, before my brother died, I had no idea of what a major grief was. Like, I don't know if you have like lost friends or had lost anyone up into to that point to where you had like experienced any grief remotely
No.
close to Mark, but I then felt like a total bag of shit for all the people that I did know who like experienced bigger losses, but I had no idea like how big the impact would be. And I remember going back to those people. I'm like, look, I'm so sorry. Like when your person passed, like I was not more supportive or didn't reach out more because I was too fucking afraid because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. And I'm realizing now that like, fuck, this is lonely. And I'm sorry if, you felt alone. And it was just such a lesson as to corporate is your family for only so long. And then it's like, well, you're interrupting work productivity. So could you get over your dead brother and like, you know, get to getting?
Dude, yeah, speaking of bereavement, so luckily my company did 5 days of bereavement and they allowed it up to like three separate times a year. So technically like 15 days of bereavement
Wow.
for like each situation. And there was a point where someone on my team, they had someone close to them die. Luckily, they defined bereavement as just being a loved one. Like it
Oh,
didn't
good.
need to be like, proven or anything. It was
Mm-hmm.
manager discretion.
Right.
And someone on my team had a situation and they were like, oh, I think I could maybe take like 2 days of bereavement. And I was like, take the full five. Like you get five. Like why
Yeah.
not use it? And they're like, well, this person like wasn't a family member. I was like, so like if you're sad, take the time. Like it
Right.
doesn't need to be like you know, dragging your feet to a funeral and then just like being sad for 5 days. Like just take the time regardless.
Right.
And I remember like it came up in a meeting later where I was like, oh, so and so is going to be out on bereavement for 5 days because, this person died. And one of the other managers was like, oh, like that's a lot of bereavement time. And they're like, were they close to the person? And I was like, they were a
What?
loved one and we're allowed to take 5 days of bereavement at a time. So I'm making the call. I'm letting them take that. Like,
And
how,
that's
like,
that's a
this is
benefit you earn.
insane.
Like that's a benefit you are owed and you earned. And like what a lot of people don't
Mm-hmm.
what a lot of people don't realize too, which again I feel like I have my corporate background is all like boring shit. It's all insurance based and blah blah blah. However, obviously with health insurance being the big fucking thing, a lot of people don't realize is that your health insurance plan that your employer does and what's available to you, they have to help fund that too. So if you have a shitty insurance plan, that means your employer does not fucking care about you and they don't care to fund it so that you don't have a lower deductible. So you don't have that because I used to work at Cigna and employers would choose how much they wanted to invest in their employees. So they would cover the cost, and part of health insurance is you then cover your cost per paycheck, per month, whatever the fuck it may be. And then you plus family or whatever the fuck it was. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime someone would be like, oh, insurance just keeps getting worse. No, your employer is getting cheaper and does not fucking care about making sure you have good benefits, which is why our dad, who worked for the government, was always like, well, I have the best fucking care because guess what? The government gets the best fucking everything. And so for him, he was always taking advantage of that. So anytime I had, like, our dad made us very aware of, like, health insurance and the cost of things and the importance of getting shit checked out. So it's like health insurance is something I always kind of just paid attention to. And I remember thinking, like,
Mm-hmm.
God, back in the day when I first started after college, I think every paycheck, the health insurance that came out was like $90 maybe. And then I think by the time I left corporate, it was like 200 and something per paycheck. But I had better benefits previously and I was paying much
Mm-hmm.
less. And so it's like we can either keep trying to be like, oh, corporate sucks, and then finding like the white whale of corporates that's not so shitty. And mind you, on the nonprofit side, I'm not gonna lie, it's just corporate junior in some instances. There's still fucking ego. There's
But
still
with less
money.
money.
Exactly. Now it's almost like Hunger Games level sometimes because then it's like in the corporate world like there's all those fuckos on LinkedIn, which by the way, I totally put my LinkedIn on like snooze or whatever the fuck it is where you can like hibernate it.
Snoo- People on LinkedIn are worse than people on Facebook at this point. LinkedIn
Yes.
is a cesspool.
And it's a
Like
cesspool of
you,
ass kissing
yeah.
losers. Like, oh, I'm so happy to announce that I've been laterally moved to a position I never wanted, and I'm now taking on 5,000 more things that I never wanted to do. I'm so happy to be such a star studded team of fucking losers. That's literally all your
Or
post is.
it's every, sorry, hang on.
You're good.
Okay. It's everyone thinking that they like have the magic uh solution to doing something. It'll always start off with like some ruminating sentence of like, I was thinking about this for a while, and ABC, you should reach out to hiring managers. Yeah,
Right.
no
No
shit. Like
shit.
why would like oh my god, everyone thinks they're like the genius of finding a job on LinkedIn. And it's
Exactly.
like, let's be honest, so much of that shit is luck, nepotism,
Yep.
you know, just networking. Like it's truly not just like, oh, if you do these three things, like, you're guaranteed to get a job. It's like, no, you should
No.
you should ideally know someone,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And all the stars need to align. Like it's just luck. It's pure luck. Well,
It
no, not pure luck, but a lot of it's luck. And I don't think people say that enough.
No, and on top of it, it's like these personas that people have on LinkedIn, and then I know them in real life. I'm like, you don't fucking talk like that, you loser. Like, I'm like to the point where it's like, yes, I can, you know, say things in a more filtered way. I'm not going to say corporate. I can filter myself so I'm not as offensive, and I can remove cuss words, whatever. However, LinkedIn is another world of like fake motherfuckers that is just it grates at me and I can't stand it. And so anyway, I put that in hibernate mode so I don't have to fucking deal with morons. But it just made me realize like why do I keep trying to look for this unicorn company or unicorn organization that's going to have all the things that I want, or I can just create what I want to do. And like this is a lot harder and it's been a lot harder and it's a lot more responsibility, but in the same sense, I'm in control. So if this fails, it's my fault, but if it succeeds, it's also my fault. And like I want this to succeed and I know I can get things moving, and that was the benefit of Allison as well, is that Allison's the type of person who we complement each other so well in the way like in the terms that we work, but also like I can trust Allison to understand like what sort of style, what sort of vibe, what sort of something that I'm going for. Because that's another thing too, is that I didn't want to ask for help because this is my, I don't want to say shit show. I say shit show in the sense that like I created my business or filed it, 2 years ago, and now I'm like, okay, now let's really fucking do it. So I say shit show because in my head that's what it feels like. It's not a shit show. It's the reason I really wanted to bring on help is understanding now that like I do need help, but I also need to trust who I would bring on to like execute what I'm doing, because I'm very I have a lot of pride in the fact that none of my shit's AI. None of my shit comes from some motherfucker who I just typed in a prompt. And I get that there are a lot of people out there where they do like those side hustles. They're like, oh, did you know that you could just do a prompt for this and you can make so much money and blah. And it's like, gross. Like, I don't want, that's not how I operate. If I'm going to sell you myself or services or something, and it's just slop from an AI fucko, like I don't deserve any of the money you give me. You can get that for free. So like I really pride myself on my creativity, and Allison has, if not the same, more creativity than I do, and also different type of creativity. So it's like we really pride
Yeah, I
ourselves on
think
the
it's
fact,
different types.
yeah, and they like still work together well. And it's like I needed someone who was still going to be in the same like mental vein that I'm in on like what to create, because I think even though for me like a lot of my stuff especially comes from like my growth through like EMDR and therapy, but also leadership, a lot of Allison's like she had like corporate fucking leadership and dealt with those fucking C-suite or had those weird conversations and shit. So it's like she she just has like some like I was never a leader in corporate, and I just, to be honest, never had the opportunity, or if there was an opportunity, it was like, do you want to take on this really shitty thing? And I'm like, no, I'm good. But I feel like now there's like so much more freedom. I know we're not making money, and I know we're not like fucking booking gigs.
We're so free now.
We're so free and poor. It's kind of nice though. Like, I don't know, there's just something weird about knowing that, like, all right, I I'm in control of this at the very least. This is the one thing that I technically am in control of the effort I put in. Can I control who decides to book something with us? Or no, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that also this means like actually putting my full like energy into this, which is aka why I was missing for the last couple months, because doing my website the entire month of December, it's mentally exhausting. All of this has been exhausting, but applying for jobs is exhausting. So it's like, I feel like there's no mental reprieve, no matter what, really.
No, especially like, how is 2026 just like already exhausting?
And it's the 13th. For people, you're going to hear this later, but it's January 13th. I think we
January 13th.
I think we all know what has happened up until this point, and I'm not gonna. I'm so fucking irritated, and when I think about things that have gone on so far in this short amount of time, like it's literally like every day, it's like a frustration cry. Like it's just more evident how not compassionate and not empathetic people are, because they're so hell bent on just being right in their head that it just blinds them from the fact that you're a fucking human, dude. I'm just so over that as soon as you say something, someone finds a way to criticize it, make it divisive, whatever. And so, like, I personally have, like, I'll share videos, but I have not said anything or wanted to speak on anything, because that's another big thing, is I'm trying not to react in real time, because then it sucks so much of my energy. Because it's so easy to give into the anger, and it's so easy to give into the shittiness, because how can you not? We're surrounded by it. So then to like, it is so much, actually it's so much more work to, in the last 2 weeks, be in a mind frame to create. Like, it has been so much more energy to be like, okay, let's keep moving forward with the things we want to do. And it's
Yeah,
impossible.
I'm glad you feel that way, cuz like I feel like I'm just dragging ass already.
I am.
And
I
it's just y- and it's like, one, the expectation of like a new year being a new start doesn't help. Like,
yeah,
it that shouldn't matter.
right,
But then there's the aspect of like, god damn, how many more headlines do we have to fucking live through?
right.
And like, it reminds me, you might have seen this. I saw a TikTok on it, but like, some professor of like a psychology class like does this thing every semester where he'll, before the final, he'll tell the students, "Hey, if you guys all agree, if we have 100%
Oh,
agreement in the class, then all of you don't have to take the final, all of you get an A." But no one ever agrees. Any year that I've done this, no one ever agrees, because there's always people in the class or a person in the class that doesn't want someone to have something they don't think they deserve.
is that not so fucking insane? The fact that you would think, hey, if we all agree, we all get an A. Okay. What's a higher grade than that? Like, in reality, it's not
Yeah.
like, I don't, it's not like, oh, because now everyone say if it was like, oh, we all get a B. Now, if someone's like, well, I have a fucking honor roll thing, I want to whatever, they want to be summa cum laude or whatever the fuck they want to do. Like, I can see the hesitation. because you're just psycho about your
But
grades.
yeah, but instead it's just like, oh, I saw asshole number one over there, not contribute to a group project, whatever, which I get, like that's shitty. Or like
Yeah,
I saw, this person not put as much work into it, so they don't deserve the A. Like it doesn't matter. And it's just like, come on, dude. If it's for the greater good,
right.
like just
Hmm.
suck it up. I don't know
That
what to
was
tell you.
that was one thing that always stood out to me. Did you take like sociology in college? Did you ever take any philosophy,
Yeah.
sociology, any of that shit? Like utilitarianism was always like one thing that always like stood out to me, and like and just this just these different ways of how like a society can operate. And it's like it's fascinating that there are people in this world who may not have experienced what you have, or maybe have even done what you're about to do, like get an A, but they still don't think you have done enough to deserve it. And it's like, you've never lived my motherfucking life. And so then it just has a bigger like idea of like, why do I, as whoever says no, to like everyone getting an A, why do you think that your assessment of good and bad is accurate and like deserves more consideration?
Exactly. And social media has only made it worse because everyone thinks their opinion is valid and needs to
Mm-hmm.
be heard. It's the whole
Mm-hmm.
fucking bean soup thing. No one
Yes.
gives a fuck if you don't like beans. Why
Oh
are
my
you
God.
watching a video about bean soup?
This is one of my favorite fucking things to bitch about, which people who are like, what's bean soup theory, if you aren't on the internet, which good for you, actually. It's a cesspool, really. But there are pockets of good. But the
Hmm.
bean soup theory is that this idea that people feel like they need to comment on content that was clearly not made for them, but they want to go, hey, like what? Here's an example. Hey, here I'm making this really cool chili, and look, I'm putting in ground sirloin, and isn't this so good? Whoa, I love chili. Here's my chili recipe. Someone's like, well, I'm vegan. Okay, then don't use my chili recipe. I don't know what you want me to fucking do.
Like, I know that everyone's of the opinion that, like, well, you're posting it on a public domain, so I have the right to comment my opinion. Yeah, but you also have the right to just not watch it because this is my
Right,
page.
right. And
Like,
that's the other thing, too, where it's like, well, I'm entitled to criticize you. I think you feel that you are because you see me doing something that you aren't doing, which is putting myself out there. Because people who genuinely make content and genuinely are like compassionate, kind people understand what it takes to put yourself out there in this time, especially in this time.
what people don't understand is that you also get nowhere by being a bully and being
No,
negative on social media. If
no.
all your social media is talking shit about people or just being like a garbage person,
Yep.
like that's all you're going to be known for.
Exactly. And then it's like, when you have built your reputation online for being this garbage ass person, why should I treat you better? Like you know what I mean?
Yep. And not only that, why, like, even if you're not creating content, if you're
Mhm.
just fucking commenting your
Mhm.
opinion on people's pages, your whataboutisms and your what
Yeah.
have you, like, grow up. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, just move on.
Right.
There's not going to be any single person that will satisfy every moral need that you
No.
need them to fulfill. That's
No.
just not humanity. And like the fact that we're so black and white with things,
Mhm.
but are okay with things in our personal lives being gray
Right.
is fucking insane.
Like
Like,
enforcing a
it's,
black
oh
and
my
white
God.
situation when you yourself claim to be, I'm so gray, or I'm a gray person and everything's gray, but then you judge people with a black and white lens. But if we go on the internet and I'm just trying to be like, hey, here's my chili or here's my whatever, and then you want to go and try and pick fights in the comment, or comment on your body, or comment on other things, it's like, what do you do? Like, what are you hoping to get out of this?
Yeah. It's fucking driving me crazy.
Exactly. Right.
Spend your time commenting on TikToks you like. Like,
That's
how much funner would your life be?
my favorite thing to do is to scroll TikTok, and anyone who's like celebrating something, happy something, is to always comment. I will always do that. And it's not because I'm like, I need to boost my engagement. It's like this person is sharing this with the world and they are just wanting to share their happiness. And why not like share that with them? Why not be happy for them? And but I know that because there used to be a time in my life where it was the opposite. And every time someone shared something good about their life, I was like, why the fuck does good things always happen to everybody else but me? I was in a dark, shitty spot.
Mm,
So it truly also really depends on your mentality. So there may be people who are just in dark, shitty spots. They don't want to admit that. I didn't think that I was. I just thought like, oh, I'm just very realistic. No, I was very cynical. I was very jaded. I was very sad and angry. And so anybody else who was having a good time, it was like, well, why do they get to have a good time? Like, don't I? I've dealt with so much. But that's like the whole thing of like a victim versus survivor mentality, where it's like, I can sit here and go, all these good things happen to all these other people but me. And so therefore I'm going to be angry because once again, another good thing happened and it wasn't to me. Or I could just understand that good things are going to happen to other people, not at the same time as me. That doesn't mean they're better than me. That doesn't mean I'm less of a person. That doesn't mean anything. It just means that they're really happy and they're excited. It's not bragging. I would take it as bragging because that's how my ego felt, you know? And it's like,
mm-hmm.
I always, it's one thing I really, and again, obviously I've learned this through therapy. So it's like me being a covert weirdo, listening to how people respond to things. But when people, it's funny how like someone can announce something and then they pull the most ridiculous thing from it. And I'm like, they didn't even say those words. Why did you think they said that? And then you start to realize, oh, but that's whatever pain point in them that it triggered. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's, yeah, for sure, like projection
Mhm.
and just not like, I don't, people don't realize as well, like, you're seeing it on social media, someone celebrating something. Yeah, that's why they're posting about
Right.
it.
Right.
They're not going to be like, oh my, well, I mean, some people are going to post like shitty stuff that happens too, but for the
Right.
most part, you're not going to be like, dang it, like I dropped my ice cream cone today. That's a stupid example. Dang it, I dropped my ice cream cone and my brother died today. Like,
Right, right.
no, like
Mm-mm.
I'm going to post when I got an ice cream cone. And
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you don't know what people have going on. Like, they
Well,
could just be posting that to make themselves feel better because they have a shitty life.
exactly. And maybe for them, like which I have said on videos like in the last few months, I'm like, I'm practicing telling good news. I have a very hard time telling people good news out loud. I can do it in a post. I can write it out and attach a little picture because to me that's less dangerous. And I say dangerous in the sense of someone can just keep scrolling. I'm not literally going to them, taking my verbal energy, speaking it to them, and getting the most lackluster response. So to me, that seems less risky to just, hey, if it comes across your feed, great. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But to make a video, to put in the effort, to say, hey, I'm speaking my happiness out loud and I'm sharing it, and this is good news. For people who have any sort of PTSD, that is a very dangerous thing because some weird part of our brain thinks, and now you've just signaled the universe, and now it knows something good has happened, so now the universe has to come out and balance it. And that's just the psychology in our brain. That's not like a real thing, that's not rational. I get it. But we're so used to someone shitting on our good news, criticizing our good news, dismissing, diminishing, putting down our good news that we don't want to tell people good news. Like I was listening to there was a video, I was going through like I have a disc of fucking camera footage. That sounds weird. memory cards, like a memory
Mhm.
card with fucking files. And it was a
Mhm.
video that I recorded of me and Jordan in 2015, where it was like a year after we got married. I'm like, oh, we got married a year ago, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, well, what have we been doing? And in the video, I'm just like, and I'm so different. My personality is so different, like watching that versus this. I'm so like, like my butthole is puckered. I can just feel it. And it's like, I'm just like, yeah, so I mean, we really didn't do that much this year. Jordan and we did a half marathon, which I haven't done before. And then we did this. Like, a half marathon is a big fucking deal. And that's exactly what I would do to someone else. If someone else like brushed over that, I'm like, whoa, hold the fuck on. You ran a half marathon? But I'm so afraid of saying accomplishments because of people in my life in the past who made me feel like I wasn't that special, which sucks because
Mhm.
while anyone can run a half marathon, for you and your specific circumstances, it might have been a lot harder than, the skinny fucking person who's been on track since fucking middle school. Like, hi, I'm plus size. I've been my whole life. I've never ran. Running a half marathon was it was more of a fuck you because someone made a post on Facebook once about the fat people at the gym and how it was so funny to see so many fat people doing New Year's resolutions and at the gym, and that they can't wait till it filters out.
I'm so sick of those people.
Where it's like, oh God, I hate that the gym's so busy now because everyone has
Yeah, I hate the
resolutions.
New Year's crowds.
And it's
It's like,
like, fuck
do you
off,
realize
dude.
how insane that sounds?
Right.
I
I
hate
hate
people
people
even
bettering them.
trying to better themselves.
You sound psychotic, people. You sound nuts. And that's why when someone said that, I was like, nah, I'm running a fucking half marathon. I was just like, nah, I'm gonna figure this out.
And like, that's the thing though, like, awesome that you ran a half marathon, but like, if someone goes to the gym for 2 days and then doesn't fucking go, who cares? Like,
Right?
you're not their accountability
No.
police. Like,
No.
people have shit going on, people have different levels of discipline, consistency. Like, it's it's all just day by day, even hour by hour. Like, we're just fucking trying to live on this
Right.
planet. We didn't ask to be born. Like,
Nope.
we're just fucking dealing with shit, dude.
Mm-hmm. And to then, for
Oh,
all you bros or chicks, because I saw women do it too,
oh
where,
yeah. I've gotten in
and
Facebook arguments.
where it's like there's one girl who blocked me once, because it was the first person that ever blocked me, and I was like, wow, you really don't want to be confronted, because she had made a post, mind you, she's like probably like, I don't know, a buck 20 soaking wet, like nowhere. Anyway, she got a fucking catalog for like Lane Bryant, and she posted how offended she was that they would think that she's that fat to get a Lane Bryant catalog. And I was like, I shop at Lane Bryant. And why would you be offended that a company would send you that? She's like, well, because I'm not plus size. And it's like, and I'm like, uh-huh. And I just like replied back with whatever, and then I just got blocked. Because I was calling her out for being a fucking cunt. And it's like, you were offended that someone thought your size was larger. What does that tell you about how you're viewing other people as well? Because if you're viewing yourself in that sucks that you're viewing yourself in that lens. That more weight equals less worth. That sucks. But that's how you view other people. And me, as your plus size friend, you saying that out loud tells me who the fuck you really are. And I'm glad they blocked me. They're not in my fucking life, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
shit like that's gross. I know we were gonna. Oh,
We could always do other episodes for the other
yeah.
topics too.
Yeah. So in
This is
editing,
how
whatever.
every
This will be
podcast
yeah,
ends.
exactly. This is how they all end. We're done now. We've run out of energy. No. So obviously, my sister hadn't been on for a while. There's a lot of shit that's changed. The big thing that we want to talk about was the work aspect. But there is personal life aspect. There's a hair in my mouth as well. I hate when there's a hair and you just keep grabbing it in your tongue. And then I'm like, am I imagining
Mm-hmm.
this hair? I think about
Yeah,
it.
or in your eye, and you're just
Yes.
like in your
Oh,
eyelash or something. You're like, come
oh.
on, dude.
Or it's like just a, it's not even hair. It's like a fine piece of like
A
thread.
fuzz.
Yes. Ooh. Anyway, so, uh, obviously this is all over the place. Whatever, we have ADHD. That's how life is. But the other things that we were talking about were like health related. I know we're like almost at 2 hours, and obviously those topics are going to be a lot more in depth. But well, do you want to like high level them? Like we have time. I don't give a fuck. We have time.
Sure. And then we can deep dive in like other episodes. But
Yeah.
yeah, we can call this episode like work updates and life in 2026 so far. Meh.
Meh.
Um, surface level updates. I got sterilized. I can't have
Hmm.
kids. And let me
Which
clarify, that was my choice. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, which seems to be probably one of the most solid proactive moves. Um, I know a lot of women who have done it in the last couple of years. I don't blame them. I will say, just very high level, did do you have like any effects afterwards from it? And obviously we can go in next time. You don't feel any different, everything's still okay. That's a plus. That's
If
good.
anything, my opinion or my thoughts on it are more justified now,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
with everything that's happening. In
Yep.
fact, like I was confident in my decision to begin with,
Mhm.
but I will say my nurse when I was like getting prepped and everything told me we're seeing more of these surgeries every week. Because when you take away a woman's ability to choose or threaten to take that away,
Mhm.
she will make the choice for herself
Right.
while she still can.
And again,
And that is what I did.
and I love that you did not get a hard time for it considering your age, because I heard back in like 5, 10 years ago, like they would not even consider it or do it unless like you were for fucking super, super, super sure. Like, what do you care?
Yeah. My original gynecologist was kind of like, because I emailed her um the day, the morning of the most recent election,
Mm,
because I was up all night watching those fucking numbers and I was like, this can't be fucking real.
mm-hmm.
And I crashed out. I emailed her and I was like, yo, I don't know if you do the surgeries or like, do you know anyone that does? Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get this done because I know I don't want kids. And she was very much like, just like wait because you can't reverse it. Like, just wait. And I was
Okay.
like, fuck it. I'm going to another gynecologist then. And
Mm-hmm.
luckily, there's a list that I think gynecologist made on TikTok of basically gynecologists that will let you do that, no questions asked.
Wow.
No pushback, nothing.
Yep.
And so they made that list. Is it insane that a list had to be made?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But I picked a doctor from that list and she was very like she's like, I trust that you're making the right decision for you, but just for like legality reasons, I
Yeah.
just need to like clarify with you. Are you sure you want to do this? It is not reversible, blah blah blah. And I was
Yeah.
like, yes. But I mean, women are doing it more and more because again, like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
fine. You don't want me to have the choice.
Right.
I'm going to erase any option of making a choice.
Right. It's literally taking your power back. And someone might think like, "Oh, well that's pretty extreme." What the fuck do you think's happening right now? Like the most extreme shit that I've ever, no one
Yeah.
could have anticipated.
You know, it's extreme using a woman's corpse as an incubator.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
pretty fucking extreme.
Yeah. So anyone who's listening is like, wow, I can't believe. Yeah, that's in case you are blind, deaf, unaware, in a coma of what has happened in the last year. That's like probably the best proactive solution, especially knowing like you didn't want to have kids. So it's like, it's not like, oh, now because of this thing, this has turned off the idea, and I did want to have kids, but because this person won the election, now I don't want to. You just didn't want to have kids. So it was just like, now this is just like, all
Yeah.
right, this is, I need the push. Here's what solidifies. Yeah, we're good. Hmm.
Not only that, like there were points in time where I was like, yeah, I could have kids. I could be a mom. I think I'd be a good mom. But then you start to realize like it's not just about how you feel about it
Yes.
and
Hmm.
what you think you can do. You really need to be realistic about if you have a kid with special needs,
Yes.
health problems, psychopath for a kid, that's very possible. Like there are things that are out of your control, and so often we assume we're going to have a healthy baby, and
Hmm.
great if you do,
Hmm.
but like me thinking, oh yeah, kids would be kind of fun to have, that's just downplaying everything like that. And that's
Yes.
disrespectful to the kid that you're going to have.
Exactly. And that is like, it is wild to me how many of my friends back in the day who like had kids earlier, who like wanted to recruit me into their cult. So like literally when me and Jordan got married, on our honeymoon, I was getting messages, people asking, "Are you guys trying for kids on your honeymoon or are you waiting? Are you asking me if I'm fucking my husband on my honeymoon? Yes, I am. Am I using contraception? Yes, I am." Like, this is a weird fucking conversation. Everyone's like, "You guys would be such good parents. You guys would be such good parents. You guys would be such good parents." I'd be a great president too. I'm not going to go do that. I'd be a lot of great things. But people seem to, maybe, and this could be me because I'm older. So we're, what, 8 years apart? 9 years apart?
Hmm.
I feel like my end of millennial, there were still people who thought like this recipe was still real. What your perfect life is, kids, blah, blah, house, all that bullshit. And so it was almost like I would tell people like, yeah, Jordan and I still want to travel. There's stuff we want to do. Like, we want to enjoy single life together. And I was like, and I just don't think I'm ready. And people would just be like, oh, well, you're never going to be ready. Like, it was like trying to sell me an MLM. That's how it felt all the time. And it was like, oh, well, you'll just figure it out. You'll just do this. The biggest fucking thing was after
I
Mark
don't
died.
want to do that.
Right. After Mark died, when I like very publicly, I think it was about maybe a month after, but I had mentioned that the day before I had found out that like me and Jordan were gonna have kids. We were planning to have kids, and the day before my brother died, I went to the gynecologist. I'd been working on my weight. I'd been working on all my shit so that I could have a healthier pregnancy. I was always gonna be high risk because I'm plus size, but I wanted to be in a spot to where I wasn't gonna have to like super super strain my body or stress my body. So I worked all
Mm.
year, eating, working out, all this shit to get to a good spot. We got to a good spot, and then my brother died the next day, and that fucked with me because I was like, yeah, this is the third time Jordan and I have said out loud we're trying for kids, and an event has occurred to stop it. Like, Jordan got laid off the other two times. So I'm like, maybe, I don't know, like, this might not be in the stars. But I even, like, said that openly. Just, like, I had not made the call yet, but I'm like, we were planning for this, and this is nowhere in my frame of mind right now. And women would message me and be like, well, I know it's hard now, but your brother, that you don't know, bitch, would want you to still have a family and would want you to still whatever and blah, blah, blah. Like, did I romanticize the idea of having a boy and naming him Mark? Of course I did. Because, like, to me, that's like the ultimate way to pay homage. Homage? Or is it homage? Homage?
I've heard homage too. I don't know.
Pay
I
respects
was
to
going
our
to
dead
say
brother.
potato, tomato.
Potato, tomato, radish, doesn't matter. So I don't know why radish, but it was like this
Root.
total dismissal of the fact that, hey, put your grief aside and put a baby in you. I'm sorry, what? No. And it was just bizarre.
Yeah, and like the like, is this fucking dead? The further I get in life now, not that I'm some like wise woman, but like the more I experience life and just like myself and learning about myself, I I can barely regulate my emotions as is. You expect
Right,
me to do that with a kid?
right. And the thing
Like
is I think that's the other thing too, is that a lot of these people have the mentality of like our boomer parents are like, oh, you'll figure it out. I don't need to. No, I should figure it out. That's the responsible thing. I figure it out, and then I can take on a thing that would require all of my energy, all of my time, all of my everything. But if my mental health is not in a good spot and you're like, well, you'll figure it out once you have the baby, no, the fuck I won't. Mm-mm. And
no.
I tell Jordan all the time that if we had kids, we would never be as close as we are now, because like the emotional divide that already existed
Yep.
between us, with like the resentment that we had towards each other that we never fucking spoke, like that would have just gotten so much deeper, and we would be like those. I'm sure you have friends like this who, there are friends where they're with their partner, if they've been with their partner for so long because that's just their comfort, but they're not with them, like they're not happy with them, they're not whatever, but they have kids and they don't want to like put their kids through a situation that they may have gone through where they have to split time or anything like that. So then people are trapped, and it's like, I'm sorry, why do you want to recruit me to this again? Like, why?
And that's also why like I've come around to like a fuck you to marriage as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I am very much just like fuck any like standards you're trying to put on me. Fuck these
Mm-hmm.
patriarchal ideas. Like I do not need to get married. I've been in my relationship for almost 16 years at this point.
Yep.
And to me, it means a lot more that we're choosing to be together and not worrying about a contract keeping
Mm-hmm.
us together
Right.
and the logistics that come with that. And also, the wedding industry is fucking criminal for
It
starters.
is.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely batshit insane. And I think, you luckily I don't get it as much because I think in my age group, like it's becoming more and more of a
Yeah.
thing to just like be like, fuck that.
Yeah.
But every now and then, there's the weird conversation you have of like, oh, you don't do this? I'm just like, no, I don't want to. And people get like weird with you being
Yeah.
that comfortable and having that conviction in the decisions that you've made.
Right.
But
Because
it's
it's such.
like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 no. No, go ahead.
But it's like, I'm trying to be as responsible as I can and also respect a kid that wouldn't be asked to be brought into this world. And I I have my own shit to worry about. I
Mm-hmm.
need to do my own shit. Like I know, I don't think not having kids is selfish like some people say it is. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's ultimately more selfless than anything. But even if
Mm-hmm.
it was selfish, who cares? I'm me. I
You're
should
a
be allowed to be selfish.
The word selfish has been the biggest fucking like fake insult, like, you know what I mean, like, or fake negative
Yeah.
trait of all time. There's a thing of being selfish where you are meant to collaborate with other people and you still don't. That's selfish. I'm not
Yeah.
meant to do anything, I'm not obligated to anyone, and I choose myself, and that's selfish. But in a negative way? No, that means
Yeah.
I'm
It'd
picking
be
me.
selfish. Yeah. It'd be selfish is if I had a kid and then
Mm-hmm.
resented them because
Exactly.
I had a kid and I shouldn't have had a kid.
what
Like
would be
that's pretty
self
selfish.
what would be selfish is to like when people get pets, like during the pandemic when people got pets because they were at home and now they need their entertainment. And then they get a pet, then they have to go back in the office. Now they want to bring the pet back to the shelter. That's fucking selfish. Any motherfucker who's done that, like, why did you do that? Why did you? It just goes to show, and mind you, obviously a multitude of things could change in that time, but there was a huge influx of when return to work occurred, where return the dogs. Like that's fucking terrible. When people are like, "Oh, well, I like having a dog," and then you go leave for 12 hours and you keep it in a kennel. What kind of life is that? Would you do that to your
Yeah.
child? No.
And like now that I think about it too, this is so random, but I like birds. Okay? I have had pet birds
Let's
my whole
talk
life.
birds.
And there are certain birds where I'm like, dude, I would love to have that bird, but it lives for like 80 years. I can't commit to that because I know like eventually it'd have to be rehomed. I would die
Hmm.
after it dies or before it dies. And like, yeah, that's a kid. Like if you can't fathom a long-term commitment, then you shouldn't have long-term commitments. I don't know what
And
to tell you.
it's wild to me because it's like there were times where like again when we were thinking about getting Pierre or even Teddy, people almost talking about like, oh well, is that a lot of responsibility? Like first of all, you know what I dealt with Gus and Tugo. You don't think that was the master class of every possible thing that could go wrong in responsibility? Like I had a crash course of all sorts of shit. But then on top of it, you're going to talk to me about responsibility with your three kids? Like that you had at a very young age. I don't think you're allowed to talk to me about what's responsible right now because now you're resentful of the fact that you had kids so early and blah blah blah. Like that's what I'm trying like don't worry babe, I've sorted through all that. Like I'm willing to take the responsibility on. But I think unfortunately a lot of women in our generation because of the formula felt like, well, this will lead to happiness. And it doesn't. Like, if you think having a kid will make you happy, that is a selfish thing to create a human being because you're a sad girl.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is like you really need to think about why you want kids. If your
Right.
answer is like, I want to give them a better life than I had, I'm sorry, that's still a selfish answer.
It
That's
is.
weird. You're
It
trying to
is.
heal your own trauma through your kid.
It
Like
is. It
it's
is.
yeah, why don't you just give yourself a better life because you're an adult now and like let yourself have some fucking whimsy or something like by not having kids. Like I can last night I literally was just sitting arranging beads watching a crime show because I don't have fucking kids to worry about. Can you imagine if I had a kid? Like I didn't even want to
Right.
get out of bed yesterday.
Right. And on top of it, with the whole idea of why do you want to have kids, when I got my autoimmune, it was right before the pandemic, which was super. So like I'd been in quarantine for a long time, but me and Jordan would go to the park to take the dogs and all of that. And I remember he started talking about kids. But mind you, now I had gone through grief. I'd gone through an autoimmune. Like I'd gone through all this shit. I'm like, well, why do you want to have kids? And he was like, oh, well, so I could like, raise them, with my values. I'm like, why would you want why is that a reason to have a kid? So to raise them with your values, so you make a mini you? And I said, well, what are your values? And he's like, well, like be nice to people. I'm like, all right, let's pause here because I think you're really romanticizing the idea of parenting. You are saying right now that you want to have a kid because you want to give something with your values and have them like the things that you like. I'm like, that's the most selfish fucking thing you can say right now. And again, if you are in a relationship that is honest and communicative, that doesn't create a fight. That's just honesty. And I was like, I personally, obviously, I'm not in a spot to where I want to have kids because again, I was still pondering it at this point. And I'm like, but I don't know my reason. That's the problem, is I don't have a strong enough argument for myself. So I was kind of hoping you might have a strong argument, but your argument's just like pretty much it was what I was prescribed or told I should do. And so I don't think enough
Yep.
people take that pause, but I don't think there's enough people who have the other person in their life to be like, that doesn't make sense. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And what was I gonna say? I feel like with Jesus Christ, what's happening? What was it? We were talking about kids, 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 kids.
I told Jordan,
Oh,
he's like, yeah, mm-hmm.
yeah. Men will never get it.
Nope,
They won't, as much as a man can be as supportive as he needs to be, a stay-at-home dad, you know, does all this shit with flying colors, still more will be put on the mother
always.
because they're carrying, delivering,
Right.
uh society just has it pitted on the mom at all times. Like they will never understand that. And
If
like
if
that
a
is
guy,
one thing that you need to be willing to accept if you're going to be a
mm-hmm,
mom.
mm-hmm.
Which is why so many women do it by themselves now because fuck that.
Why?
Like
Like, what are y'all
ugh.
contributing? And that's the other thing too, is that's how you know that there isn't a genuine partnership, because, which I think a lot of people marry because it's like that selfish, I don't want to be alone and I tolerate this person most of the time. And it's like, I got married
Mhm.
because I don't ever want to be without him. You know what I mean? As opposed to, I can stand him. It's like, I can't stand to be without him. And in retrospect, getting married, changing my name, the whole name change process was the most annoying fucking thing in the world. Women have to go through this. I had to go to Social Security, the driver's license, Wells Fargo, all the fucking places to change my fucking name.
Yeah.
And I love my name, which is why I've started incorporating it back in. Like my middle name is my last name, or my maiden name, so to speak. So it's Kane. I've always loved my name. I felt it's always a unique. Our name's fucking badass. And no offense to Jordan,
Yeah.
Brown is not as unique. Now, mind you, Jordan's ancestors came through Ellis Island and they had a different last name that started with a B. But since they couldn't pronounce it at Ellis Island, they gave a new name, which was Brown. Isn't that wild? So
Damn.
if you don't think the
Yeah.
Gestapo or anything like, oh, they're not really, they literally changed my husband's family's name. They had the power because they couldn't pronounce it. But America's great,
Damn.
right? So and he knows the real name, or it was told to us like once or twice. But again, it is very like, is it Nordic or like it's like middle, European, whatever. But it's very not brown. And so it's like, again, and as time goes on, like, I get that a lot of people too will say, oh, I want to have kids because have a legacy or what. Like, for what? Because,
Like,
when you,
what are you, fucking Achilles? Get
right.
out of here. What kind of legacy are you trying to leave?
And it's
Like,
like,
it is a weird dude thing to be like, I need to pass on my name, pass on my legacy. Why?
right.
Once like this planet's gone or we've fucking
Mm-hmm.
destroyed it, whatever happens, an asteroid hits us, who
Mm-hmm.
cares?
And in reality, the people that have been like most touted in history were winners who probably wrote about themselves, and those are the people they chose to highlight. And in reality, there's plenty of people who have never been like fully highlighted and just like reduced to like, oh, they did this one thing.
I need to wrap up in like 10 minutes, which is why I was
No.
summarizing something.
So, yeah, no, we should.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
so sterilization and then mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So I was recently diagnosed with OCD and bipolar 2. So we can talk more about that in the future as well.
Yes.
I
Uh,
am a few weeks into my mood stabilizers and I think they're working.
Excellent. Excellent. And yes,
Mhm.
because again, we created an agenda. Did we follow it? No, because that's just fucking life, and I don't really care anymore. And I'm tired of this whole thing of like, hey, I know I said I'd do this. Oh God, the fake promise I made to you an hour ago didn't really hold up. I'm sorry. Whatever. I have
Yeah.
aspirations of keeping it nice and neat, but this is not how we typically converse in a nice and neat way. So if anything, it was authentic and genuine for everyone listening. But yes, you're getting
Mm-hmm.
in this is the reality though, where it's like we'll have these conversations and then one of us has shit to do and then it's like, all right, well we'll talk about that next time. So you'll just hear that next time version of what we're talking about. But to further re-emphasize, Allison is now a part of Stay Golden. We yeah, we're gonna work on cool shit together. We'll talk about it more. Um, and I know I'll have you back on, but I'm going to be recording episodes with a bunch of different people. Because again, last year I was like, "Hey, I'm ready to record my episode," and everyone's like, "Cool, I can't wait." And I was like, "Just kidding. I'm not ready." So I do have other episodes coming and stuff like that. But my goal is to not disappear for a long period again. But the world's the world, and I can't promise that. But if you're still listening, thanks for listening to us ramble for as long as we did. I'm sure there's portions we could take out. Because again, sometimes our conversations are just conversations, and I'm like, I guess we could take this out and like make it more succinct. So we could do that.
I
But
guess they don't need to hear about the frogs in the fish tank.
I'm like thinking of everything. Yeah, I'll go through. I'll go. I'm like, um,
Well, I
th-
can edit this one.
yes,
Ha
yes.
ha ha.
I will say, yeah. Well, we'll talk more. I don't need to include this on here anyway. So, welcome back to everybody. Cool. We're back. I'm back. More episodes are coming. Other things are coming. And is there anything else you want to add?
Mm,
And if not, or if you forget, you're just going to be back on anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
yeah, I mean, hopefully we can have more episodes just fucking yammering.
Yeah, the yapping episodes. I love that people say yapper, like professional yapper, and I'm like, I kind of like that.
Yeah,
I don't take offense to it. I like to yap. I like to talk.
I
So
like
what?
yapping.
Like, what's wrong with that?
It's it's unusual. I've noticed that like especially us because we kind of grew up this way, like we like yapping to ourselves or just like into the
Right.
void, which is why we create like social media content.
Right.
Because like a lot of the times it's just like I'm just gonna sit here and talk to myself. I'm never bored. Because
Right.
there was someone I was talking to where they were like, "Oh my god, you haven't had a job for this long. You must be so bored." And I was like, "I'm never bored. Like
I would,
I keep myself entertained. I don't know what to tell you."
and that's the thing is like, why should a job indicate non boredom? Like, no, if I have a job, that means more of my time is not being spent in the way I want to spend it. Like to me,
Mm-hmm.
like why? But that just goes to show some people are like, all you do in life is work. So why? So what must you be doing if you're not working? That shows what their priorities or what. Again, when you leave corporate world, I feel like you just look at things very differently on your time distribution. And to me, 40 hours in
Mm-hmm.
an office is way too much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Especially when I
But
probably
that's another story.
exactly. So, either way, thanks for coming on, and we're gonna
Thanks
talk
for having me.
soon. And I'm gonna stop the recording, so please hold. Okay, bye everyone. We'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.